welcome to episode 6 of the YONAHA podcast. Today I have another special guest. I have Don from CaliforniaMadeProducts.
What's up? This is Donald. It's great to be on the podcast. This is actually the first podcast I've ever joined, so thanks for breaking me in.
Yeah, no problem. Hopefully this podcast will be a lot larger in the future, but I'm glad to have you on. I'm all about helping people like myself get up there, so I plan on collaborating with a lot of people.
Yeah, man. It's I've been the last couple of years I've been wanting to collab with others that are in the same space, so it's good to get that going and just, be on that journey with you and the rest of the people, you work with.
Yeah. Well, I have a few things written down here. I'd like for you to talk about CA Made Products.
Yeah. You got some questions?
Yeah. I guess first you can just give a little rundown of what it is, what you do.
Okay. Yeah, basically, this all came about from just me and my friends, venting to each other and talking about things we wanted to see in the fashion industry and culture. And me being the creative, I decided, why don't we change the narrative off of things that, reflect our imagination. And that's when I decided to just create the line and try to work with others that had the same views or wanted to step outside the box like myself.
Yeah, I like that. How long ago did you officially create it?
I would say right now things feel more official than ever, but honestly, 2014, I think I actually had some hats and shirts made and started to, show the public, friends and family. So it's been a while, and officially now, I'm really pushing to get things rolling.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize I was jumping in and helping you 8 years into your process. I mean,
yeah.
I'm glad to be here now, but wow.
Yeah, and honestly, the timing's been amazing because I took the time off to kind of get organized and find the right people that I considered. You may not be an expert in the field yet, but I've got a strong belief that, your skills will get you very far. So I knew right away, it's one of the people I want to kind of have around to help me build the brand.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. I'm really glad. Carrie is one of my patrons, actually. She's been supporting me for the past month or two. And yeah, she's the one that introduced me to you and said you'd be a good person to... I mean, at first I was looking for like a mentor, but she was like, I'm just going to find people that I think you'll want to like be around, whether they have more experience than you or whether you can help them or anything in between. So I didn't know what to expect, but I'm glad I got to help you out. I did a lot of, for the people watching, I did a lot of visualizations of his designs. I would put them on 3D models and spin them around, so he had like a full three-dimensional render of what his clothing would look like instead of just a single image. And I also did a few designs based on concept ideas that he had, and yeah, pretty good experience for the both of us.
Yeah, and honestly, it makes a big difference for me, like going from one idea to the next, because things might just be in my head, but putting that into real images, and it just really helps me get to the next step in the process.
Yeah, no, I definitely am lucky to have developed a skill in like Photoshop and stuff like that ever since I was probably 13, 14 years old. I never thought much of it at the time, but apparently, like, if you know the right people, like, it can be a skill that makes you tons of money. But for me, it was just like another thing that I do. It's like speaking a language.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and one thing it's like I'm starting to realize as I, try to be more hands-on is those are things those are things that I guess I like to do, but I understand that there's a learning curve to getting that fine product. So, I mean, kudos to you again for, I mean, how many years have you been in once you started doing all this?
That's complicated. Haven't really talked about that in video before, but I was into filmmaking since I was a literal child. Like,
Nice.
I would do kind of stop motion films with toys I had, but instead of like I would put them into like Windows Movie Maker and just make weird little monster shows because I was obsessed with Godzilla and stuff as a kid, and I didn't
Yeah.
understand like suitmation, and I didn't have like miniatures of cities, so I just made my toys just crush other toys, and I made short films out of that. I was really into playing the piano and stuff like that, and I grew into real filmmaking and animation and music composition all on the computer because I didn't need other people for that.
Oh yeah.
And it kind of just kept growing into what I do now. I'm able to animate, write, edit, direct, compose music for my own projects. I'm a one man army.
Hey, that sounds like a jack of all trades. That's
Yeah, which has its downsides. I always feel like I'm not great at anything, but I'm good at a lot of things.
Oh yeah, I can agree to some extent, especially it's hard for me to want to do one project at a time. I like to have a few things pushing at the same time, but it also, is detrimental to the progress. But
Yeah.
that's just how I work.
Yeah, no, my short film that I've been working on has been a work in progress since I was leaving high school, which has been about 5 years now. And
Yeah, well,
I have stuff to show, but not as much as I should. I could be 5 films in by now if I wasn't going to school full time and socializing and working and all those things. But I'm not the child of millionaires who gets to indulge in my creativity without worrying about money. So
oh yeah, and honestly, great things take time. So I don't know about you, but I'm very meticulous with even before I put things out there in the public. So maybe when it's all said and done, you'll have that finished that finished film that's polished.
oh yeah. No, if I rushed through and finished it 4 years ago, it wouldn't look nearly as good as my renders do now. I've been getting closer and closer and closer to photorealism every time I change things. And I've also made a lot of story changes and concept changes. And now I'm writing an even bigger picture where the story I'm writing is going to take place within an even larger story with the whole like social commentary and geopolitical situation. I want to write like a whole story where I can do illustrations for it, where that short film will just be a small piece of a huge puzzle.
Oh man, yeah, that's because I was gonna ask you, are there gonna be, a few series of this same same film?
I'd like to make more than one of the animated film, but I want this particular one to fit into a puzzle, or yeah, I want it to fit into a larger story that involves like human characters and all kinds of stuff that I wouldn't be able to animate myself. So what I'm thinking is writing it all as a book first, and then having it adapted into like manga or comic book format. Um, I don't know if in that time, who knows how far down the road, I can get experienced people to, work for me and illustrate it, or if I'm going to end up having to learn how to do that on my own, on top of all the other
Yeah.
things I do.
Well, I think when you have things finished and you are able to present it to other people in the field, it might be easier than you think to get illustrators that want to collaborate and see the vision that you got going. And, it might be easier than you think.
Yeah. I mean, right now that's really hard to see because it's hard to collaborate with anybody, or like it's hard to feel like anything you're doing is working when you're pulling the same 20 people every week to see your videos and nobody new is coming, and
Oh
nobody's
yeah.
commenting anything, and you're just kind of like, is this gonna get somewhere? And then you just kind of, or at least me, like I start to realize like, well, I always knew it was going to be difficult. I always knew it was going to take time, but like I just need some kind of engagement to know that somebody like cares. And like it's cool, I have two patrons and I'm really appreciative of them, but I really want to have that kind of impact on someone I didn't meet in real life before I started this.
Oh yeah. Just from people that maybe were inspired or something that kind of captivated them.
Yeah. And I have met a few people who are also content creators who have told me that the stuff I do is worth a whole lot more than what I'm getting. And it's just, YouTube's algorithm isn't great, or growing from zero is the hardest part. It'll all be exponential from there. I don't know. I'm trying my best to be patient with it. We're already 3 months into the year, and it's just
Yeah.
crazy how fast time is going and how little things are changing.
Yeah, well, how many subscribers do you have right now?
We're just crossing 58.
Okay, so that, I mean, I haven't put out nearly as much content as you guys, but over my lifetime, I only have 60, and I've seen you guys climb to that number. I think it's a decent pace, and
Yeah.
you guys are very consistent, so I wouldn't even be worried because
Yeah, I
those
shouldn't
videos are
be.
gonna start.
And I'm trying to adapt my content to more like more tangible stuff. Like I've been making content on stuff that I just want to make, and that's good. I should do that, but it's stuff that might be too niche or
You think,
too.
or uh,
Sorry, what?
I was gonna say, is it because it's not on the same topic consistently, or is it kind of more broad? Because
It's
that
well,
kind of,
it's broad, but it's also things that aren't necessarily trending right now. Like,
yeah,
so I made a video. I made two videos on Godzilla because that's a huge inspiration to me as a child. I did a video on a manga I read that no one's ever heard of that I know of. And it's stuff that I want to talk about, but it's stuff that people who care about it won't find it, and people who find my channel won't care about it. So right now I'm doing two separate videos where I talk about the new Batman film, not only because I'm in love with that movie, but because it just came out and it's better for the
oh
algorithm that I
yeah,
talk about a movie that just released. But
yeah.
man, you got to see that movie if you haven't already.
Oh yeah, we plan on seeing it, me and the fam.
Yeah.
How I didn't even know. I thought it was still. I didn't know it was gonna come out already.
Yeah, I definitely think that the marketing didn't do the best. Like I saw trailers for the movie, but I didn't know it was going to
Same.
release so soon. I went online about a week and a half ago wondering when the tickets would be out, and they were already for sale. And I was the first person in my town to buy a ticket at my theater
Oh
because I
man.
took a random guess at when the tickets would be out. So I got lucky. I got to take my cousins and my friends.
Oh nice. Yeah, I definitely would like to see it.
Yeah, and let me know what you think when you do, because it's so good.
Is it up there with possibly the best Batman movies or
I'd
what?
say Pattinson's my favorite Batman. I'd say it's on par with The Dark Knight. It's better than the other two Nolan Batman movies. Batman Begins and The
Oof.
Dark Knight Rises are good, but Nolan has admitted that he didn't even want to make The Dark Knight Rises. It's not like he didn't try, but it's obviously not as good as The Dark Knight.
Was it just kind of putting it together, or just because there needed to be a Batman produced, but he wasn't inspired?
Yeah, it was like a studio thing. If he wanted to make movies like Inception and wanted the funding for his own projects, he needed to keep making their Warner Brothers Batman movie.
Uh,
But yeah, they're all
okay.
good, but this movie has so much like heart and soul into it. Every actor in it is amazing. The story was so engaging, especially if you're already a fan and know all the characters. Because I have a coworker who doesn't know like Carmine Falcone and the Penguin and all those characters, so she was completely confused and bored because she didn't understand what was going on. But like, if you're a
Oh yeah.
Batman fan and you like mystery and you like the action and all that, it's a ride.
Yeah, I almost feel like I want to watch some previous ones and then come back to this new one and really have myself up to speed, and I'll let you know what I think.
Sounds good. Yeah, you gotta watch it. All right,
Yeah.
so I had another one for you. What inspired you? Well, I guess you already kind of talked about this. You wanted to do something your own way and get into the industry, but I guess for inspirations, I was thinking like from the designs I've done for you, you do a lot of um, like California pop cultural art. You like Stephen Curry and the Lakers, and you like not the Lakers, the Warriors. Wow.
Oh, I did love the Lakers though when Kobe. I grew up watching Kobe, so yeah. But I know what you mean.
Yeah, just totally scrambled the words there. But yeah, you did. I did some designs for you with classic California rappers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, and my inspiration, honestly, it comes from everywhere. The people around me, my influences on TV or music, and just I could be walking down the street, and maybe see something that gives me an idea, and I just kind of want to share, my creativity and imagination, which is like I'm gonna try to showcase that more when I release stuff this year, but it comes from everywhere, and the people I work with, especially, like even once I've been involved with you, everybody literally, whether it's people that showed me how to print shirts or when we're going back and forth designing things, it comes from everybody.
yeah. No, I like that. I think that you would benefit a lot from putting your like face and your voice out there. I mean, this is the first time I've ever heard you speak, and I've
Yeah.
only seen very small pictures of you, like your profile picture. But like as a brand, you need to be your own mascot. Like,
Oh, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I
One
struggle
thing.
with that for sure. But yeah, go on.
Oh yes, not to cut you off, but yeah, one thing I was gonna add is I kind of noticed that when I took a break from social media, and at the time when I first started the company, I was very active with my personal and just having myself on my company pages and everything, and I realized I did have a big impact on the progression of the company, but sometimes when I took a break and now that I come back, it's like there is a little void there. So I know that's a good point that you made. It makes a difference kind of matching, the
Yeah.
personal brand or the face with what you're standing for.
Yeah, and like I feel like a big reason why I'm asking you these questions is not only so the audience can know like who is this guy, but because they might connect to you if they feel the way you feel about these things. And that's
Oh yeah.
I want to be more open in myself on videos so that people want to come back, not for whatever the topic of the video is, but for me being in the video. But
Yeah.
when I flip on a camera and turn my microphone on, I'm so tired, and I'm not like, I might be improvising a little bit, and I'm not being myself. I am being very robotic, and even right now I'm talking very monotone, and that's like I just came home from 8 hours of work. I laid down for 20 minutes, and then we got on into this. But like I don't have no excuses. I have no excuse to not be at my very best on video, because the people watching don't know that. They don't need to. It doesn't. Why should they care how hard I worked?
Oh yeah. That's a good point. And like, I remember, let's say when I first, because I only have a few videos even on YouTube, but there is a moment where I remember being shy to put myself out there or even like express my ideas, but not have any fears about that. And when you do like allow yourself to be vulnerable a little bit and just say F it and go for it, I think the audience connects with that.
Yeah, and as dumb as it is, I started like looking at how certain celebrities have that confidence, and it really carries like how people see them. Like even if it's in a negative way, they get that exposure. And what my biggest
yeah.
my biggest example has to be Kanye. It's like Kanye loves himself so much, And I
Yeah.
always looked at it myself the opposite way. I'm like, I'm gonna make myself well known, even though I hate myself. But I'm like, what if I convinced myself to see myself the way Kanye does? And
Oh
how
man.
much of a difference would that make for myself and for the people watching?
I think, in one word to describe what you were just saying, from my point of view, is like, yeah, like belief. If
Yeah.
you just believe in yourself the way that you describe that he does, there's no stopping,
Yeah.
what your mission is.
I was worried you were gonna say narcissism.
Uh, no, but I mean, that's,
I mean,
a
Kanye,
little,
yeah. You see his
I just,
crazy music video with Pete Davidson's little puppet.
yeah, I actually just watched that today and the last part of the documentary. It's,
See,
a lot
yeah,
of, a lot of stuff there.
I want to assume that this is just he's not actually as crazy as he's acting, but he's getting so much attention out of it that he's doing it to look crazy.
I agree because some things seem calculated, and then at the same time, it's he's releasing a lot of things right now, so it is kind of bad publicity is almost good publicity for him right now.
Yeah, and no, there's no negative to what he's doing. Well, yeah, there is to his
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
on a moral level, yeah, but as a marketing tool, he's a genius. And I hate to call him a genius because he calls himself a
Yeah.
genius. But like
Yeah.
I don't know, like everything he does just catches everyone's attention. He doesn't have to spend a dime on marketing. Everyone buys his clothes, everyone buys his shoes, everyone listens to his music. And once he drops Donda 2 for $200 on a streaming site, people are going to pay for it. And it's like even if you disagree with his methods, you got to take notes. Like he's
Yeah, like, and some things are a little ahead of time, but you're right, even with the marketing thing.
yeah.
Like,
Did you see before he released Easy, the picture for that single? He posted it on Instagram. It was just a skinned monkey, and it was disgusting. And everyone was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, did you see that thing Kanye posted?" And then everyone went to look at it, and then he released the song a day later. And I'm like, "There you go, $0 on
Yeah.
marketing, just shock value." And now everyone's listening to it.
Yes, yes, and I never even saw the song coming. I didn't know they were working on anything. It just
Yeah.
was like, bam.
And it's like, yeah. And then the music video I didn't expect either, but like, wow.
Oh man,
But yeah,
I did appreciate, so the first like 30 seconds, before
game.
it got to the, yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate the camera work. I was really like taking notes because I like video production. I have some projects I want to talk to you at some point that I have in motion, and a couple things I did already, but like I really liked it. And then all the other stuff started happening. It kind of went south for me, but
Yeah, I'd love to be planning a bunch of video projects. I just hate working 10 to 7, 5 days a week. It's like all my days off get filled with my whatever appointments I need to make. And it's always an inconvenience. I can never make plans. Even on if it's my day off and I want to do something that night, it's like I go back to work the next morning. I don't have 2 consecutive days off. So like it's been really just weird. I kind of want to find a more flexible job for myself. Maybe something where I work early mornings and leave in the middle afternoon so I can actually do things.
have you considered using your services through like Fiverr or anything? Because you might be able to replace your income if you had a few gigs a week.
I've thought
Yeah.
about it, but I didn't know if I would get any business out of it, and it was like a risk I wasn't going to quit my job over.
But you can ease into it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I can definitely supplement my income if I spend an hour just doing Fiverr commissions.
Yeah, and one thing I want to do is, as I start getting my brand reestablished as far as popping up and being heard of again, I want to kind of put out there like what I think you can put to the table, and kind of maybe that can give some credibility to what you're doing, and also get you, I mean, I could see you can get those gigs that are out there, but people got to know like, oh, this, what your skill set is.
Yeah. And this is a weird offer to bring up on recording, but would you ever want to do some kind of clothing collab where it's like YONAHA, California Made Products? I could even design the logo for it. It'll just be an amalgamation of both of ours.
Oh, for sure, man. Because California Made Products, it won't just be about, the just, lifestyle, but necessarily like you're a California Made product yourself
Yes,
and
I am.
your brand. So
Born and
definitely.
raised. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I really like the idea of like collaborated like merchandise because like you look at things like when North Face makes like collaborations with things like Supreme. I don't like Supreme, but like you know what I'm saying. It's just
Yeah.
it's super cool, and I definitely am into design. I'd like to make something. But yeah, no, the fiber thing actually gives me a good idea. The way I did the spinning shirt design for you, I could just take people's designs and slap it on the model and render it and charge them $30 for it or something.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
that's what I was doing originally, and
Yeah.
things were getting done better with you and faster. So
Yeah.
I mean, you
I
could do the
wonder
same.
how much value I basically did for you. Like if I was charging, like I'm not saying I regret doing it for free. I want to support you as a creator. A big thing about my brand is that like I want to be a good platform for like, you're a person of color, you're a small business person, you're everything that like I support. And
And
then
I appreciate it
my
too.
brand is also things like like anti-drug stuff, like because I don't know, I have a family history that I won't go into, but like I kind of have like my own personal vow against that, and I'd like to be a good influence on people my age and younger in the future, and maybe even older people trying to quit. And I haven't been outspoken about that yet on the channel because I haven't had anybody in my comments yet, but maybe they haven't been in my comments because they don't even know.
Yeah.
They'd have to be 27 minutes and 22 seconds into my podcast to know that I'm anti-drug and very inclusive.
Yeah, well, and you can always, because the people will come and they'll go back to these beginning videos, and
Yeah.
I think it's something to talk about.
And they'll tell me to shave my stupid facial hair and get a haircut. I have never grown my hair this long, and I've never had facial hair until I started the channel, and I was like, you know what? It's the perfect time to just let it go and see how it looks, and I've gotten family and friends telling me, get rid of it, cut your hair.
People that are used to not seeing it, pretty
Yeah.
much. Well, hey, it's pandemic, so pandemic is
Yeah,
things are loosening
part
up,
two
but
or part three.
a lot of people have let their hair grow.
Yeah, my job told me today I don't have to wear the mask anymore, and I was like, no, I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah.
It's it became normal to me. I can't just not.
Yeah, it's kind of last week we went, without our mask, and I felt like I was in trouble because I didn't have it on because people were getting fired.
Yeah.
It's like, man.
Okay. Well, I have two more questions for you, and they're very similar questions, but also very different. What
Okay.
are your long-term goals for the company? And you could be as specific as you want, whether it's I want to, provide like a big home for my family, because I didn't even know you had children until like yesterday or so when you said your son might be loud in the background.
Oh yeah. I definitely include them in my thoughts as far as my long-term goals, but to be specific, I want, so how do and this goes into, my career field as far as my 9 to 5 job. I am around a bunch of engineers and environmental experts, and we work with a lot of hazardous materials, and so I've been very conscious about the environment lately. And then fast forward to me reviving my company, California Made Products. I have, I understand more how much of an impact the fashion industry has on like pollution, carbon emissions, the transportation, all the waste that's hurting the ecosystem. So now when you hear California Made Products, I kind of want my goal is to be that you know that this company will be using sustainable materials, sometimes recycled fabric, and I definitely want to give back with some of my earnings when things start to pick up and get a little bigger, and kind of make an impact in my community, but also create an environment where I'm building a whole bunch of let me say that. I want all the different creatives that are in the same space as me to be kind of a big team, and we, you know.
Yeah. See, this is what I really like about you. I'm glad Carrie introduced us, because a big thing I was saying before I even got into this is I really wanted merchandise to be a thing for me, because I'm working on my robot stuff and I love doing graphics and all that, but I would never ever outsource to like a country where like unethical labor is making my merchandise. I wouldn't be able to live with myself knowing that I'm making cheap ass shirts for a very low price because it's made by a child in another country with no other like with no other like rights. So I'm really glad that you told me that you could get like a printing thing done for me. And yeah, it's not very cheap, but it's good on my conscience that, you know, I'm helping you out and you're helping me out, and we're not exploiting any people in the process.
Yeah, and we're the little guys in the game, but it will take a lot of little guys to eventually, these big companies are they're gonna have to face the music about how many people are getting affected by all these practices that should be changed.
Yeah, and then I also like that you mentioned environmentalism, because, you know, I'm all about clean energy and all that. We just got solar panels on my house, even though PG&E is giving us a hard time, and we're getting charged for like we're getting charged basically more than we were with their gas and electric, but we're working on it. There's something wrong there. But yeah, my car is a hybrid. My last car I got totaled in July last year. I got slammed into, but my one criteria for the replacement car was a hybrid. And even though it was going to cost me a lot more, I was like, this is what I want. And I owe a fat chunk of money on a car now, but I just, you know, I'm whatever helps. I was going to save up for a Tesla. I was like, that's a dream for me to buy a Model 3 Tesla. But if I bought that last year instead of what I got, I'd be paying $700 a month for a car, and I was working part-time when I got the car because I was still at school. I almost doxed myself. I'm sure people can find where I went to school if they look hard enough, but I won't say that here. Yeah, so a really good thing as a business practice is to create short-term goals. Do you have a goal for the next month, next 3 months, next 6 months, next year? Or do you just think of the long run?
I do think of the long run every day, but my short-term goals, it's really simple to me. It's just like be consistent, because I might have a good 3 or 4 days that I'm on top of things, and maybe something comes up. I'm not looking at my planner for a couple days, and I'm falling off. And I'm at the point now where every hour of my day I can't waste any time. So I would just say to be consistent, keep checking off my daily to-do list.
Yeah, that's a good thing, and that's a tough thing for me. I literally almost fell asleep waiting for you to get ready for this, because I just got home and I face planted on my bed, and I was like, oh, he'll be ready in like 10 minutes. And I was texting someone, and I woke up and I typed the same letter like 70 times because I was asleep. And I'm really glad I'm awake right now so we could be filming this, because it's an opportunity I didn't want to miss. But yeah.
And this is the first time, I mean, I've had a lot of conversations with you via text, but I'm glad, we haven't spoken over the phone before, but
and I'm down to talk on the phone if you ever want to. It doesn't always have to be a text conversation.
Yeah, definitely. And I did say consistency, which is why I said kudos to you guys earlier, is because I want to I have like 10 videos kind of already scripts and everything already written out, but I haven't put them out. And when you guys said you guys are doing them like what, a couple times a week or weekly,
Well, I
I was like,
upload.
man,
I'm gonna say 2.5 because sometimes I do the podcast and sometimes I don't. My other two people publish one a week each, so we have 5 a week. So currently we have. Hold on, YouTube has somewhere to tell me how many uploads we have.
yeah.
I'm gonna sneeze. Hold on. Nope. Come on, it's gotta say somewhere. Looks like we have 43 uploads currently, and we started in January. Well, my first video went up in the last week of December. I was doing a review of the Spider-Man movie, and I could not wait until January to talk about it.
Shoot, man. 43. So, see, when you said that originally earlier, I'm like, see, I need to be consistent because you guys, I mean, you could do the math now. In 3 months, it took you to get 60. You got to 60. You might be at 120 in a month and a half or 2 months.
Yeah, I sure hope so. And it's not that it's not like the number itself is important for my ego or anything. I'm just trying to get that community of people that show up because they want to see more. And right now, it's like even that number of people, for all I know, is almost entirely people I know already. And I'm glad that they're here and that they're subscribed. But like, I know that they're doing it because they know me and they're trying to support me, and that's not a bad thing. But I want to have that impact on people who didn't already know who I was and just like what they see and want to stick around.
Yeah.
And I need to be my more authentic self in order for them to even care, because I'm either acting or I am monotone because I just don't even know what I'm supposed to say or do. And I don't even know what kind of content is right for me yet, because I do movie reviews and I do this thing where even though I had just seen the movie, I might sit there spinning around in my chair, like not remembering half of what the movie was. And I did that with the manga I read. It was a really great one, and I was like super obsessed with it. I was telling everybody about it, and I turn on my camera and I'm talking and I sound like I'd never even read it before. Like, and I haven't even done a part 2 for that yet because I'm gonna have to reread it to even know what happened.
Hey, I do that even when I'm reading books. Like I might forget something from like a couple paragraphs up, and I go back.
Yeah, and it's like I want to shift into something more entertaining because, like, reviews aren't fun to watch more than once. But like, I don't know. I'm like, what do I talk about? I'm trying to figure out what my thing is because I like a lot of things.
I got an idea for you.
Yeah.
So if you can figure out another way to add value to the listener off of the things that for you are so simple, but maybe somebody doesn't know how to like do this one task in like the software that you have, or something that's like a small tutorial of like just something really simple. You can maybe have these videos where a good amount of people need help in that category, and your videos there.
Yeah, I mean, tutorials are good, and I heard that they have rewatch value because people often watch it and then they start it over and then follow it and then come back to it later if they forget how to do it. But my channel has mostly been movies, anime, TV, gaming, and I want to keep it in that entertainment media range.
Okay.
But like, I just need to find, like, I need to create my own series of videos that are fun for me and fun to watch. And I haven't figured what that is yet. But I was trying to do a series where I talk about art concepts because I have an associate's degree in art and I learned all the traditional things, painting, drawing, photography, all that stuff. But like, the first video did really well and the second video did terrible, and I'm like, well, do people actually want to see these? I can't tell because no one comments on anything. And that's the hard part.
People are hard, yeah.
I'm just kind of shouting things out and seeing if people care, and it's hard to tell if they do or don't because no one's saying if they do or don't. But like, I want to get to a point where people will tell me what they liked and what they want to see more of, so I can figure out what's working and what isn't.
Oh yeah, and I would like to I'll take a minute, not a minute, but a moment to kind of go through some of the stuff you guys have already put out there, and I'll provide some feedback.
Yeah, that'd be great. My videos are all the ones that are the thumbnails are yellow. We color code these. So my friend Paul uploads all the blue ones, and my cousin Obi uploads all the red ones, and I'm all the yellow ones.
Okay, nice.
And
you guys are very structured.
Yeah. No, I'm a very, very disorganized, organized person. My folders on my computer are a mess. All the files I made for you are titled ADSFHF. Like, I go through fast. I go too fast to be organized. But when it comes to the appearance of things, I make it look very calculated. And yeah, I don't know. I call myself now the founder and creative director of YONAHA, because the entire aesthetic of everything is my hand. Is my doing.
Yeah, and I mean, you should be proud of yourself. I know that takes a lot of time, so.
Yeah, but it's stuff I've been doing since I was a kid, a teenager, a young adult, and I'm just, it took me way too long. Well, I can't say too long. I'm still a kid to a lot of people. But, like, I didn't know I wanted to be a business person. I didn't know this is what I wanted. My teachers in school thought I wanted to work for like Lucasfilm or Pixar or Sony and make $40,000 a year on a computer for 60 hours a week. And I was like, you guys are scaring me. These are all my options. None of them ever even thought of telling me that I could start my own business. I can make my own stories, I can make my own merchandise, I can make my own passive income, I can employ my own people. Like,
yeah,
I had to learn all that through YouTube, and I feel like I value YouTube more than I value my entire university, high school, and middle school, and junior college education put together. And I hope that people realize that they live in an age where all this information is just there for free, and they should not feel pressured to go to school for a job that doesn't require school.
Yes, there's a lot of free game out there, and I think our generation is kind of, showing that. A lot of the older people may not agree, but I mean, you could learn just about anything if you put the time in, especially on YouTube.
Yeah. How old are you, by the way?
I would like you to take a guess, and then I could tell you.
Because now that I know you have a son, I want to say you're at least 28.
Yes, yeah. At least, yeah.
At least. At most, I want to say 33.
Okay, you're right on the money. I'm 32. I'll be 33 this year.
Very cool. So you're just about 10 years apart from me.
Yeah, and my son's, he's 3.5, so I've been a father for just a couple years.
All right, so he's your first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I'm happy for you. It's a very nice thing. One of my friends had a kid early last year, so she's gonna be 1 year old soon.
Yeah,
and it's weird knowing people who are having kids, and you're like, wow, I still live in my grandparents' house. I feel like I never graduated high school, pretty much. Like, I'm really mature in certain ways, and I'm really not in other ways.
Hey, well, don't be in a rush to grow up, man.
I'm not.
That's all I can say. And your pace is your pace. Like, I was even living at home for a while before I actually started doing my own thing. But the timing, I think it was what it was meant to be.
Yeah. Well, I guess cheers to where we are now, and we'll see where we are in the future. But I'm definitely keeping you in my circle, and I know you're keeping me in your circle, and I'm glad you're one of the people I met at the beginning of this, because you could have been anybody else and it wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the kind words, man, and you know, it's good to have someone like you in my corner as well.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good year.
Oh yeah. Just hope it, gets good to a point where I can either work part-time or quit altogether and just, sustain myself this way, because the quality and the frequency of what I do will only skyrocket with that amount of free time opening up.
Yes, and I don't know how your days seem to be planned pretty well, but if you just try to maximize. When I had my son, I started to put that into perspective more about like my time, maximize the whole day. So like,
Yeah.
if you can figure out, use any of that extra time, and take some time for yourself though,
Yeah.
like mentally to kind of.
Yeah, no, I tried to have a thing where on weekdays I work my 10 to 7, I go to the gym, and then I work on my video for Tuesday and Thursday. It's dumb because I upload on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but my days off are Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I don't want to record and edit and upload on my on my days off. I try to record ahead of time, so it's always at night on a weekday, and then I try to stream on weekends because the gym's closed, so I just come straight home and stream. But I've missed a lot of gym days, and I've missed a few streams already because life happens and I have other things I have to do, and I make sacrifices. Like, I'd rather record this with you than stream because I think this is more valuable.
Yeah, and from my standpoint, I'm like, wow, I enjoy listening to a lot of podcasts, but it's actually cool to be a part of, one of your episodes.
Yeah. Well,
and my first.
Hopefully a lot of people see this one, because I think people should know who you are.
Thank you, man. And people will. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
And we'll work on getting that out there.
Yeah. Well, I think we are about done with episode 6 of the YONAHA podcast. This was Don from CaliforniaMadeProducts, and you can follow him. I'll have his Instagram and whatever socials he wants to provide on down below. And yeah, you should subscribe to the channel for more podcasts and more content from me.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. This is not goodbye, but more so a see you later.
All right, yeah. All right. See you guys later, and thanks for watching.